So this is Marion Smith's Day 4 page and pocket that goes in it. So this is the pocket page, and then this is the envelope. And like I said, I'm completely out of ink on my printer. We just came back from a cruise, so I'm having to work with what I have for the moment. So what I did was I looked for a paper that had this kind of like a script background, and this was kind of a close thing that I had. So what I did was I took an 8.5 by 11. Let me go down a little bit. I took an 8.5 by 11 and I cut it down to a 5 by 8. That's the size of my pages in this album, which is the size that Marion Smith has on her, since it's an 8.5 by 11 folded in half. So this is a 5 by 8, and then I took another piece, and it was just a rectangle like this, and I made it slightly larger. So I made about, I don't know if this was 1/2 inch or 1/4 inch. I think it's 1/2 inch seam allowance on both sides. So I made it, the bottom piece, a total of 1 inch wider. So this bottom piece is actually 6 inches wide by 3.5 inches tall. So again, that's 6 inches wide by 3.5 inches tall, and that allows me to make the pocket out of it. And so that will be going there. I'm going to distress the edges. I'm going to try to find a flower stamp. I think I have a stamp almost like the one she has of the black rose, and put a stamp here and a stamp there so it can look as much like hers as possible. And then for the envelope that goes inside of this pocket, see, this will slide in here like so. Hers is a rose print that she made, and this is a coordinating rose paper that was in the same packet from K & Company Life's Journey. And so what I did with this is I knew I had to fold it on top of itself. So I just made it to the width that I wanted. I think I made mine 3.5 inches wide, and then I added 2 inches on each side. So 7.5 inches wide total for this square. And then top to bottom, I think I wanted 5 inches, and then I added an inch on the top and an inch on the bottom. So 7 inches tall by, what did I say, 7 inches wide? So I guess it's a square. Did I make a square? I don't remember. Anyway, so what I'll do is I'm going to cut off all these flaps so I can make my envelope, and then I will have my Day 4 page. Okay, so now what I've done is I took a little rose flower that I had from Close to My Heart, and I stamped it with desert sand ink from Close to My Heart, and I also put one right there so that it can kind of look close to what Marion had on hers. And then I glued my pocket in, and I've now also glued my envelope together. I use wet glue because it looks like that's what really holds best, just like Marion demonstrates on her videos. So that's what I did on these. And then I'm going to distress the edges and then punch my holes, put my picture inside of here with my journaling tag, and that'll be it for my page 4. So today I'm trying to speed through and catch up on my journaling here. I've already done all my journaling in that I kept it in my iPad. I journaled every day, so now I'm just putting everything into the album. I've taken my photos every day, so I'm just building finally the actual pages for the journal album, since we were on a cruise for 8 days. So now it's catch-up time. So this is the back of Day 3. So I just made one of those little flowers and glued it down. It's a little bit bulky, but it's like the only bulky thing I have in this album, so I think it's okay. And then I did my journaling for January 3rd. Then over here I did finish my Day 4. Honestly, I don't remember if I videoed what it looked like completed with my journaling card. I think I did, but if I didn't, here goes day 4. So this is that pocket that I imitated Marion Smith's pocket, and let me unravel this. Inside of this envelope, I'm sorry, I don't have my camera on a tripod today. It has the picture, and then I also stamped on the back and did the journaling there. So that goes back into the envelope for day 4, and it closes with that little piece of hemp from Close to My Heart that I put on that envelope with that brad. So that's day 4. Okay, sorry there, I had lost day 5. It was so little I couldn't find it. Day 5 doesn't really look all that interesting, does it? But it was actually a really good day for me. That was actually the day that we were packing for our cruise, and there's a story behind this little thing here that I journaled. My husband had actually found this in his luggage from when we went to Los Cabos, and I had been looking for it and looking for it. I lost it. I ordered a new one, just to be told by the shipping company later that there was a delay and I wouldn't get it in time for the trip. Well, come to find out, my husband found my old one, therefore I was able to take my underwater pictures when we went to Grand Cayman Island on our cruise this month. So I was so happy, so I put a couple of the pictures in that I took at Grand Cayman, all because my husband found my aqua pack. Okay, so for day 6, Marion Smith has this beautiful template sample, and I am trying to make that similar pocket for this. And then she also has an insert that goes, oops, wrong page, there it is. She also has an insert that folds and can be put inside of it. So I am first trying to make this here. So what I did was I took a piece of scrapbook paper and I kind of figured out, it kind of has the script, and then I had this piece of ephemera still left from Webster's Pages, and I added some glossy accents to that rose. It's kind of the same color rose, and I'll just be gluing it to the front of my envelope here to decorate this page to look kind of similar. Okay, so for day 6 now, I added that piece onto this and I glued my pocket shut. And then I added Distress ink, I think it's Worn Lipstick, onto the edge of the envelope as well as the edge of this piece from Webster's Pages with the glassy accents flower. So then I punched my holes, and then I added this tag in here, has the picture, and I'm going to add my journaling spots on here. But what I wanted to show is how I add, first I cut with my 1-inch punch from Martha Stewart, that little hole there. So what I want to do is I want to make sure my tag stays over here to the right so it doesn't get into this. So what I like to do when I have epoxy stickers that match the layout is those fit perfectly with a 1-inch punch. So I'm going to use these 2 stickers here, Artsy Lady and the flower, and I'm going to make a little tab for my tag here. So what I'll do is I place my tag exactly where I want it. I just make sure it's all the way over, and that's where I want it to be. And then I put this tab right on top, right in the center where I want it to be. Okay, so now the other side is still sticky, and hopefully I didn't stick it to my envelope, and I did. There we go. So that way it's the tab for your envelope. Then I flip it over and I take my other one that has the little rose on it and I match it up exactly on the back. Right over that top sticker. There we go. And so those match up exactly, and then it slides down into your pocket, but it doesn't fall into your pocket. It holds it just right. So that's my page for day 6. I'm going to add my journaling and then my day number 6 stamp to this one as well. Whew, Whew, I'm so happy. This is going along really fast. So day 7, Marion Smith had printed off a double-sided paper. One side with journaling and the other side was printed, and then she had like a scalloped piece at the top. So I used my Sizzix die and I cut out this piece for day 7. And day 7 was when the Houston Texans won the division title. So that was a happy day for many of us who have been Texans fans since the beginning of that franchise. It was their first playoff win. Unfortunately, they didn't go much further after that, but it was nice nevertheless to at least get that far this year. And on the back is my journaling. So I did that for day 7, and now I'll start working on day 8. So for day 8, it may get a little messy for me here. I'm going to attempt to make this page that Marion Smith had designed by using a transparency. So she printed hers out, I think she said on a clear photo paper or something like that, but it's clear. And so she has that, and then she has that card that she made to insert inside of it. So for the first part, what I did was I took a transparency 8.5 by 11 and I trimmed it down to my standard page size, and so that my total page now measures 8 by 5. Used my Martha Stewart punch and cut out that little circle right there. So now I'm going to take my Versamark ink pad and some embossing powder, probably black embossing powder, and I'm going to do the edges on the front and then do a design of one of my stamps on the back with black embossing powder, and we'll see how this turns out. I think what I'm going to do is lay it flat when I'm doing that part, because I don't want it to buckle too much since I'm not printing this actually on a laser or anything like that. So anyway, that will be our attempt. That's the only thing I can do right now, because actually there's different types of transparencies. This transparency is for laser, because we used to have a laser printer, so this is what I used in our laser, but now we have an inkjet, so I can't use laser transparencies in an inkjet printer. It never dries. So I have to work with what I got. Thanks for watching. Okay, so this is day 8, January 8th, so from this point forward it should go relatively quickly for me because this was the cruise, so the pictures are very easy to pick out, and there were just so many events that happened on each day. So I made a page similar to Marion Smith's with the transparency, and so I used stamping and I heat embossed all the edges, and I'm sorry my bird's going crazy. And then I glued a couple pictures on the insert that goes inside. I put 2 epoxy stickers here to put it just at the page right there. And then I had this little canvas badge, and it says fly. It says it all led up to this very moment. And if you read the journaling on here, oh my goodness, that was a day. It took us a very short time to drive down to Galveston from the Dallas area, but there was a ship delay due to fog, and it only got worse until about 9 o'clock at night when the boat finally was able to leave port. So it was a very long day to say the least, but it was worth it, and it was a great trip, and I had really a lot of fun making this page. And so I thought I should use the seagulls that we saw there, since she had a bird on her page, and so that is my day 8. Okay, so now I'm going to show how I'm doing page 9. She has this beautiful envelope, and I think when I get my ink, I'm going to have to go back and print off this page because it's so beautiful. So that's the envelope for day 9, and then that is the page for day 9, and the envelope slides right in here. So, again, I'm having to make my own pages because I have not bought ink for my printer. So first thing I did was I took an 8.5 by 11, or I took a 12 by 12, and I cut it into an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, and then I folded that whole sheet of paper in half, and then I cut out this section and punched out with a Martha Stewart punch. So you can see there's like a rectangle that was cut out right here, and then I just used the Martha Stewart punch right there, and then fold over, and so I'll glue here and here, and that will make my page. Now the envelope took a little bit more math, which I can't even remember the math anymore. I just kind of eyeball it and do it. So first I cut out, I guess it was a rectangle. I don't remember what size this was, honestly. Ultimately I wanted this in here to be 4 inches wide. So this is 4 inches, and this one I wanted to make sure it overlapped well. So this may be like 3 inches or 3.5 inches, and then this flap that folds over is like 2.5 inches. And then I cut an angle on the bottom of these so that it doesn't create bulk down here. So you can see it kind of has a V shape. That way when I fold this flap over, it's not creating that much bulk. Oh, I'm sorry. I want it this way. There we go. So that's the bottom. And then this will be the top that flips over like this. And then she made hers look like a coin envelope, so I'm going to do the same. I just punched out 2 circles with my Martha Stewart punch, inked the edges. I'm going to use some eyelets to mount these there, and then I have some hemp string to use it as my closure. So that will be page 9, and it will just slide in here. Oh, let me just do it this way for now. It'll slide in here like that when it's done, and so I will show it after I finish working on page 9.